Welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're tackling a topic that affects literally every single one of us every single day: decoding human behavior. Just think about how much we communicate without ever actually opening our mouths. We're constantly broadcasting our true feelings through observable signals. It's like a silent language, and today we're going to learn exactly how to read it. Let's dive right in.
So, have you ever wished you could know exactly what another person is thinking? Be honest, we all have. It sounds like a total superpower, right? Something straight out of a sci-fi movie. You're sitting across from someone and you just want this magic window into their brain to know what's genuinely going on behind their words.
I mean, these are the everyday mysteries we constantly wonder about during conversations. Are they telling the truth? Are they actually happy? Or are they hiding something? We're always searching for these answers when we interact with friends, family, and colleagues.
Which brings us to Section 1, the mind-reading myth.
Because here's the truth. No one can actually read minds. It's pure fiction. But what we can do is read signals. Humans constantly give off small clues through their behavior, their expressions, and the way they communicate. We're essentially walking broadcasting stations, transmitting our inner emotional states to the world around us. And the wildest part? Most of the time, they don't even realize they're doing it.
Moving on to Section 2, decoding the eyes. Let's start right at the top with the eyes. Now, people often think that if someone avoids eye contact, well, they must be lying. We've all heard that myth, right? But that's actually not always true. In reality, some people avoid eye contact simply because they're nervous. Some are naturally shy. Or they might just feel deeply uncomfortable looking directly into someone's eyes while speaking. For them, it's a really high-pressure situation. So the absolute crucial point here is this: one signal alone simply doesn't tell the whole story. If you jump to conclusions based on one glance, you're going to misread a lot of perfectly honest but maybe just slightly anxious people. You always have to look at the bigger picture.
Next up is Section 3, reading body language. Now let's talk about the literal push and pull of human interaction. Just imagine you're talking to someone and they naturally lean toward you while you're speaking. That usually means they're really interested in the conversation. They're physically closing that gap between you. But on the flip side, if they keep leaning away, crossing their arms, or just creating distance, they may be feeling uncomfortable, distracted, or a bit defensive.
But remember, context matters. If the room is freezing cold, a person might cross their arms just to stay warm, not because they're being defensive. You always have to factor in the environment and the overall situation.
Let's shift gears to Section 4, listening to the voice.
Next time you're chatting, really pay attention to the voice. Have you ever noticed how people actually sound different when their emotions change? Think about it. When someone gets excited, their voice often becomes faster, the pace picks up, and it's just way more energetic. But when someone feels nervous, well, they might pause more often as they search for words, speak much more quietly, or even suddenly change their tone completely. It brings us to this amazing idea. Sometimes emotions speak before words do. Just let that sink in for a second. The way a word is delivered often tells you so much more than the actual dictionary definition of the word itself. Those non-verbal vocal cues, that's where the real message is hiding.
And that brings us to Section 5, fleeting facial expressions.
Now, for arguably the most interesting part of the whole shebang, our faces can reveal genuine emotions for tiny, tiny moments, sometimes for literally less than a second. We call these micro-expressions. They flash across the face before our conscious brain even catches up and instinctively tells us to hide them and, put that polite mask back on. These are those little leaks of genuine emotion you want to watch for. It could be a quick smile, a brief look of surprise, or maybe a tiny flash of anger in the jaw or the brow. These incredibly small expressions can reveal what someone is genuinely feeling right before they hide it again. Catching them, it's a real game changer.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 6, the context rule. But here's the absolutely crucial part we have to remember. Never judge someone based on a single sign. Humans are incredibly complex, and honestly, we are not open books. Someone crossing their arms doesn't automatically mean they're angry, and someone looking away certainly doesn't automatically mean they're lying. Remember, these are clues, not convictions.
Finally, Section 7, the real superpower. You see, the secret isn't mind reading. It's understanding people. So the next time you talk to someone, don't just listen to their words. First, observe those signals. Second, pay close attention to the context. And third, really try to understand the person behind the conversation. Combine those clues with a little bit of compassion,
Because maybe the real superpower isn't reading minds. Maybe it's simply understanding humans. When we pay attention to these silent signals, we aren't tricking people or hacking their brains. We're actually listening to them on a much deeper level. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. So I have to ask, whose silent language will you decode today?